don't care.
You know these are online.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, so we started off the unit obviously making our map. But the first country we talked about was Greece. If you think about everything we've talked about, it's always been birthplace. The birthplace of civilization, we started in the Middle East. China and India, we started with their early valley civilizations near rivers. Here, this is the earliest civilized culture in Europe, so we started with Greece. Greece divided itself into what?
City-states.
City-states. They are political boundaries of ancient Greece. The question on the test says, can someone grab for me, on my test there's on my desk there's a white version of the test with numbers on the side. It's like 5 pages. It's right on the corner of my desk. Miles, do you see it? And it has numbers written on the side. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 pages. Okay, the question is, what is the political boundary of ancient Greece? You would put city-state. I'm literally reading the test to you. You're going to take the time to be here after school. I'm going to read the test.
Right now.
We talked about how many city-states Greece has, but we only focused on 2 of them because they're the largest, kind of most popular, most important. So we talked about Athens first being famous for 2 things. It focuses on arts and academics, and it was the first working what?
Democracy.
Working what?
Democracy.
And I was right, that's A. Athens.
A
Get
for
it?
Athens. It's the largest city-state, not necessarily by size, but by population. Arts and academics has the most famous Acropolis because it's still in really good shape. That's why it's most famous. Sparta, total opposite. What do they focus on?
Military.
War, military, murder, plundering. We showed you the video of Spartan Academy, where they have to go and train at age 7. They're beating each other up. The kids are killing each other. This doesn't matter. It's not on your test. Democracy is on your test. Okay. Okay, this is a true or false question. Every Greek city-state had an Acropolis. True. Okay. This isn't on your test. Okay. The Acropolis, literal translation is what?
Hilltop Fortress.
Hilltop fortress. But it's where they have spiritual protection because what do they have on top of it? Temple. And physical protection because it's
Hilltop.
higher. They have a vantage point of enemies. Again, the most famous Acropolis is in Athens. This one here is in Sparta, but here's the Athenian Acropolis. Philosophers, you just need to know their names. That's really the most specific the test gets. Think SPA, S-P-A, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. I want to go study philosophy at the SPA. What is Greek religion called? Mythology. Why did it exist? What is the purpose of mythology? Oh, I heard it. To explain why things happen, why things were built, why things are created. It's the origin story of everything. There's the most powerful gods are called what?
The Olympians.
Olympians.
Zeus is what we consider him the father of all gods. It's not like he is the dad of all of them, but he's like the main god of them all. He has 2 sons that really hate each other. They are
Poseidon and Hades.
Poseidon and Hades. Or his brother, sorry.
Yeah, brother.
They don't like
I was
him.
like, come on.
I was thinking sons because he was a little promiscuous here. Hades not technically Olympian because he doesn't live at Mount Olympus. He lives in hell because he's the god of the underworld. Poseidon. There's not really specifics on here other than Zeus. I don't think there's a question about plays. Olympics are really to honor what god?
Zeus.
Zeus, but they do honor all gods. And they want to show honor to the gods, but what do they also want to show off?
Muscles.
The bodies. And show Zeus, hey, this is how strong I am. This is what my body can do, and I do it for you. Where are they held?
Mount Olympus.
Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus is way up north. They're competed in the nude, except for one event, and the fully armored race to see if you can run with 50 pounds of armor. Chariot race wasn't nude either. What's the name of this statue?
Discobolos.
The Scabalos. Again, women cannot participate. Why?
Because naked.
Because they're naked. That's about that. Okay. I don't know how to guard this. What's her name? Lady of Auxerre. She is ugly,
Stiff.
stiff,
Unrealistic.
unrealistic,
Archaic.
archaic,
Flat.
boring, flat. She's got chubster fingers. She has toes as wide as her body. Her hair is bad, bad, bad. They're just starting out sculpting. They don't know what they're doing. But in addition to not knowing how to sculpt, do they even understand the human body yet?
No.
No. What's the next statue where she's holding her hand out?
Lady Paloma.
Pep. Peplos Core. Peplos Core. Classical is where we start to see a major shift. They're understanding human form, and they're learning how to sculpt better. So their learning is progressing in both ways, of the human body and of just the mechanics of sculpting. So classical is more realistic. It starts to look like human people, but there's not emotion, there's not drama. It just looks like a real human body. So we looked at Riachi Warrior and Discobolos. Look like human bodies?
Mhm.
Do they look realistic?
Mhm.
Do they look really, really deep emotion expression in their faces?
No.
That doesn't come till Hellenistic. Remember, he's emotionless. He's sitting here, we can see his muscles are taut as he's leaning back holding that discus in the air. But don't you think that pain would be in his face too?
Mhm.
And he's just blank-faced.
And wasn't like the muscles on his legs, like on his calf?
Yeah, you can't see it because we don't have all the lights off, but this calf, his leg that's just dangling in the air is tight, like he's flexing it. Is that possible if it's just dangling?
No.
No. So they have some misproportions, but this, I mean, compare these guys to these ugly ladies. I mean, come on. They've come a long way. The Acropolis was built during the classical time period. It's clean lines, straight, and it has mostly the classical capitals, which are called what? Ionic. What's the most famous building from classical Greece?
Parthenon.
Parthenon. Elgin Marbles, remember the triangle. What's the triangle called? Pediment. And then frieze, and then capital. Hellenistic is where they take those realistic bodies from ancient Greece, from classical Greece, but they go over the top. These are bodybuilders. These are airbrushed models. These are ridiculous. But here they add in the emotion, the drama, the expression. And so it starts to really pull and play on human emotion and kind of getting you emotionally tied into all of this. So we saw here seated boxer. Seated boxer is defeated. He's exhausted. He is tired. But also his face tells us a story. It's not emotionless like Discobolos. It's exhaustion and sadness. Laocoon and his sons, over the top muscles. These kids are supposed to be like 9 years old. What 9-year-old has a 12-pack? Laocoon has like a 90-pack. He's got side ribs. Again, they're going above and beyond real. What do we call that? Ideal. There's real, then there's ideal. Ideal's not real, it's magazines.
What the? Oh yeah, it's a snake.
Then Nike of Samothrace, the winged goddess of victory, as she's flying into battle, her cloth is billowing behind her. It's so tightly pressed against her body as she is flying that you can even see her navel through her clothes. Incredible drama and beauty, but again, a little over the top. What is this? Pediment?
Pediment.
Breeze.
Capital.
Call.
Good. Doric is flat and boring. Flat and boring, boring, Doric. That's about the best I can do to help you. Boring, Doric. Ionic. Classical. Like eyes on the end. Okay. Corinthian comes out of what time period? Hellenistic, and it's like a corn plant. Like leaves and greenery. Corn plant. Over the top, it's ridiculous. Shout out the name, not the time period, the name.
Ionic.
Ionic.
Corinthian.
Doric.
Doric. Doric. Doric. Ionic.
Ionic.
Corinthian.
What is this called?
Pediment. Breeze. Capital. Column.
Ionic.
Ionic. Doric. Doric.
Good. Okay. Let's read you all of the Greece questions. True? Oh, I lied. That's another question. Okay. True or false? Ancient Greece was the first example of a working democracy. So Devin knows. Any of you else know? True. Okay. True or false? Every Greek city-state has an acropolis. Which of the following was a Greek philosopher? Socrates, Hades, aristocrat, Gutenberg.
Socrates.
What style of ancient Greek art was unrealistic, flat, and stiff?
Doric. No. Archaic.
Doric is a column.
Archaic.
Archaic. Hellenistic Greek art was very flat and stiff, idealized and over-detailed, kind of realistic, all of the above.
Idealized.
Okay. Which of the following was an event from the ancient Olympics? A, marathon. B, synchronized swimming. C, discus, D, fencing.
C.
C.
Okay. Then, on the slide portion of the test, you have a portion that looks like this, and it's just 1 through 20, and it's just blank numbers, and you're going to see pictures on the screen. About 4 of them will be Greece. You'll see a statue, and you better know. It might say, what is the name of this statue? And you should write Discobolos. What is the name of the statue? Nike of Samothrace. What is the time period? Archaic. Okay? So that's, you'll see, I think there's 2 statues and 2 columns from the slide ID.
Do we have to spell them right?
I might even give you options, I'm not sure.
Take a little look, see.
Where's my white remote? Who sees it? Is it on my desk? Okay, so one of them is what city is this building located in? And it's a building you've seen before in Greece. This one says, what is the name of this column? And I don't give you options, you have to know it. You should be able to spell it because it's the really boring one, and that's easy to spell.
D-O-R-C.
Then question 11 is what period of Greek art is this statue from? So you'll need to be able to spell and write out Hellenistic, classical, and archaic. But if you're smart, you'll just flip through the test and you'll see those words. Okay? There is one statue you've never seen before. And it says, question 13, what period of Greek art does the statue come from? You've never seen it, but it's either flat, stiff, and ugly, it looks real, or it looks too ideal. Really hone in on that, okay? Ah!
Classical has no.
That's it. Okay. On to Rome. Okay, there are 13 questions about Rome on the test. That's not counting slides. True or false, the Colosseum was a Roman arena for funerals.
False.
True or false, peaceful time in Rome lasted 200 years. True or false, Theodosius was the first Christian emperor. True or false, Rome fell in 2143 BC.
False.
True or false, Julius Caesar was the first dictator of the Roman Empire. Roman religion was modeled after Greek religion. In the story of Romulus and Remus, who founded Rome?
Romulus.
And that's it from this portion of the test. Okay. I don't know. So we got the two brothers. They're raised by the she-wolf. One brother kills the other brother. Who wins?
Romulus.
Romulus. Hence it's Rome, not Rheme. There was the Republic and the Empire. Consuls are the first type of Roman leader. How long do they serve?
1 year.
1 year. How many people at the same time?
2.
2. But who really has control?
Senate.
The Senate has control. The Senate is made up of patricians, the rich people. Plebeians are you and I. So there's 300 senators at a time made up of the patrician class, and they get to tell the consuls what to do. So who has more power? Consuls or patricians? Patricians, because they tell them what to do. They meet at the forum, so we showed you pictures of the forum, blah, blah, blah. Na, 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 na. So then they try out a triumvirate.
Hillary Chamberlain, could you please go to room 29? Hillary Chamberlain, you're wanted immediately in room 29. Thank you.
So they decide consuls aren't working. Sharing the power isn't effective. You know, you only have 1 year to accomplish something. So of course they add somebody else because that makes sense. So the first triumvirate, who becomes the sole leader out of these three?
Caesar.
Caesar. One of them mysteriously dies. One of them gives up. Caesar's in charge now. But he is assassinated on the Ides of March, which just happened on Saturday. We had the 265th anniversary of Caesar's, or 2065th anniversary of his death. He's murdered. Then there's the 5 bad emperors like Nero, who slit his mom's throat, and they're bad. Who are the emperors looking after more, the people or themselves?
Themselves.
Themselves. Then all of a sudden you have emperors that start doing good things, and kind things, and they're honest and they're true, and they aren't killed. Remember the video we watched where it's like, and I kill the emperor, and then I'm emperor, but then I'm killed, and I'm emperor. But boom, 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 people keep being killed. But here, they're so honest and everybody trusts them that there's, in 200 years, there's only 5 emperors. And that's called Pax Romana. Romans are just copycats of everything Greece did. Greek religion, Greek sculpture, Greek art, blah, blah, blah. Arches are important. Not on your test, not on your test. This is on your test. Not on your test. The end. Colosseum.
aqueduct.
What happened here? Funerals?
No.
What?
Fights.
Gladiator fights. Again, seated by money. Patricians, plebeians, slaves. Destroyed after the fall of Rome because they started taking everything apart. Pantheon is the building dedicated to every Roman god. Pan in Latin means all. So Pantheon is literally an all church for all the gods. It's got the massive dome that they brilliantly built with coffers. So it's like all these different arches throughout the ceiling because the coffers take the weight.
Distribute.
They distribute it where?
Down.
Dome.
Down. So the walls are really doing the heavy lifting so the ceiling can be lighter. Then that stupid nun got mad at me for laying down. Remember, they practice mythology. Everything's the same as Greek, but they what? I heard it. What do they do that Greece mythology? So Zeus in Greece is known as who in Rome?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. So they're just switching names. What they do to people who are Christian is they kill them, especially under Nero. He killed the most Christians. Because if you believe in Jesus as your savior, do you need the gods?
No.
Do you need the emperor?
Nope.
No. So believing in Christ was dangerous to the empire, so they start killing people. While they're killing people, they decide, oh man, Rome's big, it's dangerous, we should split it. So they split it, and they put 2 leaders in the east and 2 leaders in the west. So that's what we call a tetrarchy. Because tet is Latin for 4. So tetrarchy is 4 leaders, 2 in the east and 2 in the west. Constantine is an emperor in the east because he names the capital after himself. And what's so important about him other than he's the first emperor of the east?
First
what is he also
Christian.
the first?
Christian.
First Christian. Why does he wait till his deathbed to be baptized?
So people wouldn't go against him.
He wouldn't get assassinated. He wouldn't go against him. But he does. He does change things so it's legal to be Christian because who was Christian first? His mom. So he makes Christianity legal. I'm not going to kill you for being a Christian, but you still should support the Roman mythology.
Mhm.
Then who's the first emperor to say, nope, mythology out, Christianity a must? Theodosius. Theodosius now says Christianity is forced upon you. And so 200 years before, they're killing Christians. Now the Christians are killing the Romans if they don't switch. Rome,
Fall 476.
what year does Rome fall?
476.
476 AD. 3 reasons: political,
Social, economic.
economic. You could summarize it in it's just too
Big.
big. Any questions on Rome? Okay. Did I read the questions? We did. Okay, if we were going to summarize this, we'd say the Roman Empire came to an end in 476 AD. The years between 476 and 1500 known as the Middle Ages or Dark Ages. System of government and society called feudalism arose during the Middle Ages, Crusades, and Church between 1096 and 1291 changed Europe and influenced trade between Europe and the East. Bubonic plague devastated Europe in the 14th century. That's great. That's pretty much everything. Top to bottom, king, lords, knights, serfs. Good. I definitely go back to the PowerPoint and look at this chart. Make sure you're understanding. Okay, I see. You have to give protection, you know. And then this one here is showing you the size of a kingdom. That kings give the fiefs, which is land, to the lords or barons. They have knights, and then they have serfs and peasants. Castles are originally made out of wood. Then they switched to stone. They're built on hilltops again for that protection. Strongest part is the keep. Most castles were really cold and drafty, so most of them burned down except you're trying to heat them up. Crusades, word for word. This is on your test. Word for word, the definition of the Crusades. I promise you, it's on your test. The purpose of the Crusades, military expedition for the Christians to regain the Holy Land from. That is on your test. And it says, the purpose of the Crusades was for the blank to take blank from the blank. So, the purpose of the Crusades was for the
Christians
to take
the Holy Land
from
Jerusalem.
The Muslims.
That's the question on your test. Good things happened, bad things happened, we got knowledge. The Crusades brought back the knowledge that could end the Middle Ages and start what new time period?
Renaissance.
The Renaissance, because now they had the information of what the Greeks and Romans did. Plague was gross, killed lots of people, it was nasty. Was everybody bitten by a flea?
No.
No, it spread
Airborne.
airborne. Coroner's report is nasty. Ring Around the Rosie is creepy. Chivalry's not dead. Love is precious. Knights existed. Tournaments happened. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, Miss Belknap, Brent has one.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just wondering how many questions on the test are.
I'm gonna go over them right now. Okay, what is the organization of society during the Middle Ages called?
Feudalism.
True or false, Ring Around the Rosie is a song about the Holocaust.
False.
A serf was a peasant in the feudal system.
True.
The Black Plague killed 1/3 of the European population.
True.
I think I changed that number, maybe. Nope, it's 1/3 on the test. How was the bubonic plague spread to so many people?
Airborne.
So the answer says humans breathing exhaled air of a victim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What did the Knights bring back from the Crusades that helped end the Middle Ages?
Knowledge.
Which of the following was a result of the Crusades? Ended feudalism.
And the Pope was power.
Christians conquered and took over Jerusalem. Increased the power of the Pope. Brought back trade knowledge in the Dark Ages.
Brought back trade knowledge in the Dark Ages.
After Rome fell, a period known as blank lasted for the next 1,000 years. Dark Ages. You could say Middle Ages, Medieval Times, Dark Ages, but it says C, Dark Ages, so you know that's the one. Then, your favorite question. Question 72. The purpose of the Crusades was for the blank to take over blank from the blank.
The Christians.
Take over the
Holy
land from
Land.
Muslims.
And what modern day religious war resulted from the Crusades?
The Palestinian.
Israeli.
Israeli-Palestinian.
Okay. Okay, so we had this little switch between the Dark Ages And moving into modern times, known as the Renaissance because it's shifting back. We're moving forward. We're not the Middle Ages where we're just lazy do-nothings. We're learning, we're progressing. There was a time period of medieval architecture. It's not on your test. Major differences between the Renaissance and medieval times is essentially there's more questioning, there's more learning, there's more production. The Catholic Church doesn't really like it, but it happens. There are people that are killed, like Galileo, but it's happening. People are questioning the Bible, they're questioning the validity of the church, and they're learning for their own because they want to learn. That's the hugest difference between the Renaissance and the medieval times. Renaissance means
Rebirth.
it started where?
Florence, Italy.
Florence,
The
Italy.
rebirth of everything the Greeks and Romans did.
Academics, arts.
Few
culture.
terms: Renaissance man, a man of many trades. They could do everything, like Da Vinci, Michelangelo.
Sing it.
Madonna is the Virgin Mary. Annunciation is when she was told she would have Christ. Cathedrals is the type of church for Catholics. The best cathedral in the world, most beautiful building on earth is Florence Cathedral. Where did the Renaissance start?
Florence.
Florence, so of course they had the coolest building. Stairs inside will make you cry. Fresco is painting on walls, and as you paint, it dries it's kind of into the wall. Mosaic tiles commission paying people. Church is religious knowledge, secular is history, math, science. This picture is on your test. Who is the artist?
Leonardo.
What is the name of the painting?
Mona Lisa.
This is on your test. You'll look at this picture on your test.
Do we just name the picture?
I can't remember if it's naming it or naming the artist. I don't remember. He's very much into science and questioning and learning in the human body. Michelangelo could paint and sculpt and architect, so here he is painting the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. And here he is as a sculptor and as an architect. This is St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. It's the headquarters of the Catholic Church right here. Michelangelo designs it. Raphael's a little more rounded figures. Botticelli only paints mythology because he hates the Catholic Church. Jan van Eyck, the North is all about symbolism. Everyday scenes that would have never been painted in the Middle Ages because everything had to be religious. But now, you want to paint a scene of people hunting, sure. That would have never flown in the Middle Ages because everything had to be about Jesus and the Virgin Mary. And then Bosch is creepy. Okay. Renaissance means look back to your ancestors,
False.
which was not an area of rebirth during the Renaissance. Art, architecture, religion, or war.
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 What city was the birthplace of the Renaissance?
Florence, Italy.
Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses complaining against
Catholic Church.
Church.
who created the first printed Bible?
Gutenberg.
Leonardo da Vinci, A, painted, B, invented, C, studied the human body, D, all of the above.
All the above.
The most powerful and wealthy family during the Renaissance was
Medici family.
a Madonna scene refers to what religious figure?
Mary.
Okay. French Revolution, we did a document that looks like this. It was either white or green. I can't remember. I think it was white. You guys remember doing this? Okay. Absolutism means that the French kings have
Everything.
absolute power. Divine right of kings means where do they get that absolute power from?
Heaven.
God. Louis wanted to be seen as this new age, new king, but he was a total crapshoot. He took everybody's money. There's 3 groups of social order. First estate is
The priests and church leaders.
clergy. It's religious people. So do they hate them?
No.
They hate the
Second.
Second
second
estate.
estate because that's the
Money.
wealthy people, the aristocrats. Third estate is
Everybody else.
everyone else. So do they like being lumped together?
No.
No, so everyone's unhappy. Bourgeoisie is the wealthiest group of the third estate, and they want to be second estate until the revolution starts. Then they're the ones actually killing the wealthy people. So the third estate comes together at the tennis court oath and says, "We want the king gone," and the king says, "No, I want to stay." And they say, "Well, we're doing it anyway." So they go and have a meeting at the tennis court and said, "We're doing it. We're getting rid of the king." So they take the king from his hunting lodge at Versailles, take he and his family, put him in prison in Paris. Later, behead him, his
Guillotine.
son, and his wife. What were the three colors of the French Revolution?
Red, white, and blue.
How were dress differences for third estate and second estate? Envision those pages in your head. I promise you that French fashion is a picture on your test.
I'm gonna say we're like all fancy.
Remember the movie we watched? Scarlet Pimpernel?
Yeah.
Think Marguerite, the actress, she always wore the floofy flancy silk dresses. That's second estate. But then you think of the soldiers there that were guarding the door and he kept letting the Scarlet Pimpernel through because he was an idiot. That's a second or a third estate. Can you envision those in your head? I hope you can. They decide they have to kill the king, they kill him, it's gross. The Reign of Terror is when they're mostly killing aristocrats. 16,000 of them die from what machine?
Guillotine.
Guillotine. Okay. Then we jumped ahead 100 years to the Industrial Revolution and said that it was not very fun because people were sick and getting diseases and working really hard and your lives are easier. Their lives were awful. Factories are gross. Factory life is rotten. It happened because we need more labor so that we can make more goods, so that we can decrease the price, which makes people want it more, which means we need more workers, and it's a cycle that can't end. This life won't end for these people because this vicious cycle means I need more goods, I need them cheaper, I need more goods, I need them cheaper. Child labor is naughty. Pollution happens. People live in really bad, gross places. Lots of inventions, things we use today. Immigration, this is a huge time of immigration because even though the factories are awful, factory life in America is better than farm life in Europe. Sewing women, they come in and they're making different clothes, but doing the same job every day. You just sew the zipper every day and you don't do anything else. But really focusing on child labor in factories and in mines. These were the women who were burned in the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. These were their bodies after they were pulled out. These are the people running the steam engines because what powered the first factories?
Steam.
Steam, so what do they have to be built by?
Water.
Water. Then we had to look at a lot of primary sources, letters from doctors, the photograph as primary sources, and about Rosie, the girl who worked in the sewing factory, and what's the boy's name who was in the mine? Robert, maybe? Robbie? Kevin? David? I don't know. Okay. Did I read the French Revolution questions?
No.
Okay. True or false? The French first estate was a combination of wealthy and poor citizens.
Oh, false.
True.
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 True. It's clergy. Remember, there could be a rich priest and a poor priest. The Reign of Terror was A, when Germany controlled France during World War II. B, an evening of mass destruction of Jewish synagogues and businesses. C, a time period in France where they killed anti-revolutionaries. D, when the Bolsheviks executed anti-communists.
C.
During the French Revolution, the blank was removed from power. Bourgeoisie, first estate, third estate, or king?
King.
King.
What was the largest group of French society? First, second, or third estate?
Third.
Third.
Bird.
Okay.
That was the first.
Before the French Revolution, the first and second estates did not pay taxes.
True.
True, that's why the bourgeoisie and the third estate were so mad. They're the only people paying taxes. The richest people in France aren't paying anything. During the Industrial Revolution, children under 10 were not allowed to work.
False.
What was the what country was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution?
England.
Which primary source about the Industrial Revolution would you believe to be accurate? A diary from a factory worker, a report from a factory owner, a historical fiction novel, the internet?
Diary.
Sorry.
Before the Industrial Revolution, what did most people do for a living?
Farm.
During the French... Oh, I already asked you that one. Okay. So that's it for those. Okay. How many of you want to go over World War I and World War II since it was just 2 weeks ago? If you don't, you can just go. Because if you feel comfortable, because that information was so recent, you're fine. So I would just go. Well, we're going to do these super fast because they're so recent to you. World War I, did the countries want the war?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, because they wanted to prove they were best. I have the best military. I have the most friends. I have the biggest country. Imperialism, biggest country. Or, I am the best people. Can you guys live very quietly, please? These are the main causes of the war. Militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. But, could the war have started just with these
No.
hatreds and feelings?
No.
What had to happen?
Assassination of our
Assassination of the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, killed by,
Gabriel Princip.
who is a Serbian. So, he kills them. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. So Russia mobilizes troops. So Germany declares war on Russia. Then they declare war on France. Then they declare war on Belgium. Then Great Britain declares war on Germany. Then Hungary declares war on Russia. Boom, 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 we're all in war. Gabriel Princip shot them. Here's Gabriel being captured. Militarism. Alliances. Imperialism. And nationalism.
better.
The United States entered the war because of two things. This sinking, being blown up by a German U-boat, and them sending that telegram from Germany to Mexico saying, hey, could you attack America for us? We need to keep them busy. That was the telegram that we looked at. The war was stupid. They fought in trenches. They didn't gain any territory, so it was called a
No man.
No man.
Stalemate.
stalemate. Trench life was gross. Your feet were sick. Life was awful. Some inventions here. It is the first modern war. The Civil War was the most recent before this. It was about 45 years before World War I was the Civil War. And it was bayonets, man to man. But here we have guns. The machine gun invented in Utah. And we have aircraft giving you a better perspective of things. No longer wearing targets across their chests of red and white, but starting to camouflage themselves. Who left the war early? Who
Russia.
did they sign the treaty with?
Germany.
Why did they need to leave?
Civil War.
Civil War.
Tsar was in trouble. They were having the Russian Revolution. Then the Treaty of Versailles ends the war. Who are they most harsh on?
Germany.
Germany. What 4 things do they restrict?
Military, government, land, and
What do they make them sign?
Clause.
War guilt clause that says, I, Germany, started the war. Did Germany start the war?
no.
I mean, they were one of 9 things that started the war. And made them pay the equivalent of $785 billion. Did they have the money?
No.
Is it all their fault? Does that punish the government or the people?
People.
People.
So everything is mad, everybody's unhappy, Germany's mad, and nobody's in a good mood. Hitler can rise to power because what happens?
Depression.
Great Depression, he was a cute baby, then a creepy teenager, and then a soldier. After a soldier, he joins the Nazi Party.
Oh.
Okay, so he joins the Nazi Party. He doesn't create the Nazi Party, he joins it.
He's like
And
the
then he's
49th
put in jail
member.
for a little coup that he had, so he writes Mein Kampf, then it gains publicity, and then he's elected chancellor during the Great Depression because nobody's paying attention. He marries this chick for a day until he kills her. He had the Gestapo, which were the police that would kill innocent people. They were scary. Remember the guy who was more afraid of the police than a robber? The SS were essentially the Holocaust police, led by Himmler. Blitzkrieg is what 3 tactics at the same time?
Planes,
Air,
armor,
land, and tanks, all at the same time coming in. Boom, boom, boom. We talked about bad boys and how the Treaty of Versailles really makes everyone mad. Doesn't work. They can't make Germany do what they want. So in essence, it helped cause the war because it wasn't a good idea. So fascism comes about, which is extreme nationalism, which is like, I love my country so much that I'm going to kill everybody else in other countries and other ethnicities and other languages. You suck and I want you dead. That's fascism. He is the start of fascism. Mussolini. He's our one bad boy with no mustache. He's BFFs with Hitler, who does have a mustache and hates all races that aren't Aryan,
German.
but most of all hates
Jews.
the Jews. Great Depression gets everybody forgetting that they should pay attention to Germany. Hirohito is invading China. He murders lots of them. He becomes friends with Hitler. Hitler decides to take over Austria so that he can gain Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
He wants that land. In order to do so, he has to go to Austria first. Then the Allies are like, no, don't you do that, Hitler. And so do they punish him?
No.
No, they say just don't do it again. You can keep it. Just don't do it again. So he signs it, but 6 months later, he takes the rest of it and invades Poland. Then we watch cute little Hitler here.
Everyone gets the same size desk. Now, class, my teacher, I will need the Czechoslovakian boys' desk as well. Where's little Fransky? What's going on? Not my problem. Now, it's my problem.
So they say the war officially starts because he invades Poland, so we're in war by 39, even though Russia does the same thing 6 years later and nobody invades Russia. So we have the big 3, the Allied powers are Russia, America, and Great Britain. And then you have the Axis powers, who are Germany, Japan, and Italy. I'm sure, are you guys good on Nuremberg? We just talked about it last week, the trials for the Nazis. Okay, and you're fine on Russian Rev and Rasputin?
Those are the one things I came here for.
Oh, we need to do Russian Rev? So you have this creepy dude who causes problems
Cool.
with this family. The Romanovs are the wealthy family in Russia. They have son Alexei who's sick. Remember, he has hemophilia. He can't bruise. He bleeds to death if he falls down. So we have the Tsar Nicholas, Tsarina Alexandra, their daughters Olya, Marie, Tatiana, Anastasia, and then finally a son Alexei. Alexei's really severely injured at age 10 when he falls off his pony. So they call doctor upon doctor, come heal my son, come help me, but nothing works. So they finally call Rasputin, who had the reputation of being a bad rapist, but also as being this creepy healer man. So they call him to the palace. Rasputin had a wife, he had children, and he liked to rape and attack women. That's why he ended up in the hospital. I wish I would put that face on the pin, but I think that'd be a little too scary, right?
Yes.
They wanted him dead because the Russian people didn't like him. They thought he was this puppeteer, making the Tsar and Tsarina do what he wanted. They thought he was sleeping with the Tsarina, so they want him dead. So actually, the Tsar's nephew kills him. He poisons him. He shoots him 3 times. He beats him in the face with a club. Is he dead?
No.
No.
No, he's blinking and alive and well. They throw him in a river by tying his hands, his feet, wrap him in a carpet, and he drowns. Then the Bolsheviks take over because they kill the Romanovs. They kill the Tsar, the daughters, the wife, all of it, but it became confusing in the stupid Disney idiot film because this chick pretended she was Anastasia because I couldn't find her body. You have all this on your page. Biggest things to know here, 5-year plan and collectivization. Because that's where Mao got his ideas from. Russia did it first. We just talked about it second. But Russia's the first to take over food production, so Mao copies him. Stalin holds mass executions, killing 20 million. He starves about 30 million because he's not a good farmer. Kills way more than Hitler ever did. Then we have the Cold War between Russia and the United States, fighting over who's the best country. How will they prove who the best country is?
Space race.
Space race and
nuclear weapons.
nuclear weapons. Is it a physical battle?
No.
Is it war of
Word.
No words.
words? I have more weapons than you, so I'm better. I got a man on the moon, so I'm better. We're afraid of people becoming communists, so we call it the domino effect, falling and falling and falling. We fought the Cuban Missile Crisis, Korean War, and Vietnam War because of this. While all of this is going on, they're controlling and dominating Germany. So they build a wall around East or West Berlin.
West.
West, because they want to keep the
People out.
Russian Germans out of the free area. So if you go back and download this, you can watch the videos. Those will help you. So they build the wall around the West, not to trap these people in, but to keep these people out so that they can't become free. They finally tear it down in 1989, so these people have been separated for about 50 years, having no freedom. So there's a couple of videos on here of them tearing it down. Last thing. How many of you own an Apple product? Download right now from the App Store an app called Brainscape if you don't have it already. Go to my website and study tonight from the PowerPoints
Brainscape.
and
your
the
notes.
websites. The PowerPoints are found right here in the Geography World Civ section.
Europe.
Open up Europe. Here's all your stuff. Then these are all studied. Do you want to study geography, human geography?
No.
No.
Do you want to study geography, Asia?
No.
No, do Europe or World War II. But the Brainscape is huge. Here's the map quiz because you have 20 questions at random on your test. Brainscape, so we've been to I Like to Learn. You guys know what to do there. Brainscape is the best. It's probably the most helpful thing on here.
It's amazing.
Play it. Your favorite game.
It's right.
It's very, very helpful because you're judging what you actually know. You have to get an account to play, but the account is free. They don't send you emails. They don't spam you. So sign in and play Brainscape. If you have more questions on Brainscape, let me know. You can come up and ask me right now, and I'll show you if you want to see. Otherwise, you're free to go. Goodbye. Brainscape. The app looks like this. It has that little thing.
So what was the second state? What was the second state?
Second state was all the nobles.
Like nobles that are like
The
friends
rich
of the king.
people.
If any of you see Brooklyn Earl today, will you have her come talk to me in the mornings? Is she in the student council?
The first
Oh,
estate?
yeah.
Wait.
Will you ever come talk to me during student council class
Who's in the
tomorrow?
first estate?
First estate was
King.
the king and the priest and the church leaders.
And so
So poor Andrew.
It was 3-4.